So my name is Ulrike Kreysa. I'm the global responsible for healthcare at GS1 Global Office based in Brussels, and I'm working with my colleagues in 114 member organizations across the world on improving patient safety and supply chain efficiency. At the same time, I'm also working with the industry stakeholders from the manufacturer to the hospitals and with regulatory bodies to drive the harmonization of standards for patient safety. So we know that spurious drugs is a serious issue. According to Interpol, 1 million people die per year because of that. It is also big business, and that has unfortunately created the fact that spurious drugs are used across the world and are sold across the world. We know from the WHO that approximately 10% worldwide are spurious drugs. That is much lower in some countries, like in Europe where I am living. It's a 1 to 2% chance to get a spurious drug. If we move to Africa, it goes up to 60%, which is really significant. Imagine that you go into a pharmacy and your chance to get an authentic drug is really 1 to 3. To fight counterfeiting, at the end you need to have a traceability system in place. You need to create visibility in the supply chain. You need to be able to follow a drug really through the supply chain from the manufacturer to the patient, so that we are sure when the drug arrives at the patient it is an original drug with the original content in it, which will really have the effect which it should have. So the challenge is really to implement such traceability systems, which are complex and not easy to implement. Nobody should think that this is an easy thing. But if we don't base ourselves for these traceability systems on global standards, then it will not be successful. Because traceability and the supply chain in healthcare today is very global. So manufacturers are sending from India their products to many other countries in the world, for example, to Africa. And on the other side, we have manufacturers who want to send from Europe to the US, etc. So the healthcare supply chain is global, and we need to address this globally. India is one of the countries who has very early started to mandate for exported drugs a standardized approach for identification and barcoding. So they have they've been leading the way forward, and I know that, for example, many pilots in Africa, for example, this has been extremely useful. In the moment, I think we are seeing in India a phase where traceability systems are rethought, are rediscussed, and I think it's very important that India is staying aligned with global harmonization, because they have a huge pharmaceutical industry which wants to export, which wants to be an export country. So I think it's really important that India is keeping this global harmonized approach and is continuing on the way which they started with exported drugs, also for the internal market. I mean, we are having this event in India because in India traceability is an important topic. GS1 as an event, as I said this morning also, we are not an event organizer. We are a standard organization. But what we see GS1 is a platform where all the stakeholders can come together, and a neutral platform where everybody can discuss with each other. Regulatory bodies, and you see here regulatory bodies from across the world coming together, which can talk to each other. Hospitals who can exchange experiences, manufacturers who are competitors, but nobody is competing on standards. So they can talk freely with each other here about a common way to address spurious drugs.